So if it's one thing I could say, to somebody just watching this, is that the day and age of just being for yourself is phasing out. And now it's about partnerships. Like, you're gonna make more money with your guys or with your girls. Like, people coming together is how you really will come up. Like, try to get it's no way you can tackle on 30, 40 houses by yourself. Like, you gotta have a strong team. Like, eating together is the movement. Like,
What's going on, guys? We are back on another episode of Sometime-ish, where sometimes we talk about life, sometimes we talk about business, sometimes we talk about current events, but all the time you will be entertained and informed. I am here with a very special guest, real estate investor, real estate agent, Joshua Savage. For those of you who don't know, is a name I've heard quite often. He's doing a lot and up in Baltimore. I'll allow you to introduce yourself.
Yeah, I'm Josh Savage, Baltimore real estate agent slash investor slash real estate coach. A couple different titles, whatever you want to call it.
Awesome. How did you get started in real estate?
So, man, it's a funny story. I actually got started. Real estate first hit my mind probably around like the age of like 17, watching The Real World, just seeing the type of homes they was in. Like, it looked kind of cool, and it really sparked my interest on, damn, like, one day I probably could put a house together like that. And then, like, just seeing that show and the places they were, like, my interest just really started growing in real estate. So I would do more more research, looking up Donald Trump, just everybody that was in real estate. Like, man, I just was real into it. But I was playing football at the time, and then I came across this guy in Memphis. I can't remember the guy's name, but he older guy in Memphis was wholesaling, and I seen that and was like, okay, that's probably a good entry point for me, is to learn wholesaling. I had went to a Long and Foster in Maryland, and it was like, okay, at the time it was gonna be like probably like about $4,500, and I was like, all right, I don't got that. I'm in college, playing football and stuff. So I'm like, all right, I'm gonna hold off on being a real estate agent. I'm gonna try wholesaling. So I actually would take my little brothers out with me, a couple friends, like, at the watching a guy in Memphis putting up the bandit signs. They was real heavy back then. It's like 12 years ago, putting up the bandit signs. So we'd ride around putting up bandit signs. On the way back home, all the signs is folded over because it rained, and I was putting up the wrong type of signs. So I mean, I started back then, but that gave me like my first like real look into real estate. Then it was a guy seen from Baltimore named Marcel Humphrey, who was on YouTube talking about wholesale and stuff, and I knocked on his door of his office. He wasn't there. I sat down on his steps for about 4 hours, and he actually pulled up, and I jumped up, was like, man, you got to teach me this. Like, I was like, I've been trying this. I know these people, they want to sell, and these people trying to buy. He was like, for real, you did all that? I was like, yeah. I was just a kid at the time. He was like, all right, come on in the office. And then he showed me everything. So I got to give a lot of props to him. Like, he really, set me off on the right path. Just seeing him back then really opened up my mind to like a whole another way of making money.
That's beautiful. So that was 12 years ago. What has happened from like then until now? What was like the steps of progress? Like, how long did you work with him? Are you still with him? Do you do your own thing only?
So I mean, it's crazy because me and Marcel, like, we real cool to this day. But I probably had worked with Marcel for like 6 months. He was real big into doing seminars and stuff back then. And my mindset was more so like, I wanted to make money. But, it's a business behind knowledge and making money. I think at the time that was his lane more so. He had came in the wholesale game and did his thing. And then he was at the point where, he's selling knowledge, doing seminars, like, because that's a whole nother avenue of money.
Right.
And so I had kind of split up. I was a barber at the time too, while I was in college playing football. But I kind of had took a break. Then I met up with another guy named Daniel, and Daniel was wholesaling real big. He was having like meetup groups and stuff. And I had invested some money with him, and that kind of went bad. But ain't no hard feelings. But I was younger, but that went bad. Met another guy, and I had dragged one of my partners, Eddie, in at this time, we young in the real estate. The guy, he say like, man, I got like 30 houses. I'm gonna let you sell. This just came from me just being nosy, knocking on doors and calling people that I would see that looked like they, really in the business. And the guy, he gave us about 30 houses to sell. We made a website, everything, and we started marketing the houses, right? So if you wanted 30 for the house, we turned around and had somebody at like 47. So me and my boy, we hype, we happy, we about to make 17,000. But at the time, we didn't know the process behind wholesaling and how to really control a contract. So we had completely left that part out and was just like, okay, you the buyer, we calling, well, you the seller, we calling the person as a buyer. And then we connecting them back with the seller. And he, at that point, he like, oh, y'all got 17 for it? Okay, you was 17 on top? We like, yeah, like we gonna make good money. He like, give me the person number. We give him the number, and then
that was it.
We don't hear from him.
Right.
That happened with like 5-6 deals, and I'm like, man, he getting over it. So then it fell off. It was a lot of ups and downs. Like, got burnt a lot of times. Like early on, if you don't know the contracts and everything and how to really structure a deal to make sure that you're gonna get paid, this is a game for sharks. Like you're gonna get burnt. Absolutely. playing with this. Like, but I mean, at the same time, depending how you look at it, because I got burnt, but I was learning what not to do at the same time. So that happened. Let the industry go, let the whole real estate go for a couple of years, and then I got a phone call one day from my daughter's like grandfather-in-law. He said he was gonna take a real estate course to get his license. I was like, all right, I'll do it with you. So we took the class together, and I ended up passing, going to take the state exam, and he pretty much just took the class and ain't do nothing with it. So I mean, I still thank him to this day, but he never did nothing with it for real. Like, I wish he did, because I felt like we could have been in business together, but he went a different route, and then I just stuck with it and ran with it.
Absolutely. So it sounds like you had a lot of trials, a lot of tribulations. You went through a lot. For people who don't understand, just like on a basic level, what is wholesaling?
So I mean, wholesaling is just you're really just controlling contracts on a property. You buying a property for 10, or let's just say $10, and you turn around and find somebody that's willing to pay $30 for it. You're gonna make the difference in between. I'm just speaking in just random numbers, but
right, just for concepts. And for people who don't know, do you need any money to do this, or is it something that you could do without money?
You at least need $1 to keep it real. You at least need $1. And in the state of Maryland, where we are, like, you got to put something down on the property. I've never got away with putting down $1, but I have gotten away with putting down $100. And the seller said, okay. Actually, that was on my first wholesale deal. So I got a call from my aunt when I got my real estate license. She said, hey, one of my friends want to sell this property. It's been in her family. Like, they just want to get rid of it. So I went and I walked the neighborhood with her, looked at the house. And I was like, in my mind, I'm like, man, I know a couple people that might pay like 15 to 20 for this, because at the time I was marketing on Zillow in Park Heights. That's where I had got the house at. And people were calling me like all day for properties in the area. So as I walked around with her, she was like, yeah, one investor offered me like 7,000. Somebody else offered me 9,000. I was like, well, I'll give you 11. And then she was like, all right, I'll take it. So then from there, I was like, I already got my mans. I've been showing houses around here. He willing to spend like 15 to 20. So I told him it was for 15. Then he was like, well, nah, I'll pay 16 for it. So I made the 5. On my first wholesale deal, I made 5,000. And I just ran with it.
So essentially, you just made $5,000 by assisting out a seller and assisting out a buyer, and you were just the conduit for that.
Right, but I had to put that house under contract. So I had to, it's when you wholesaling, it's 2 contracts. It's A to B, which is the seller to the buyer, and then the buyer becomes the assigner. But the problem is where people get it mixed up at, if you can't sell this property, you need to have a means to buy it, or you need to have an exit strategy. And the exit strategy would just be a like what I put in mind is just a what I call it, it's an inspection. It's just an inspection. So if I'm buying it today on the 1st, and I'm saying I'm gonna settle by the 30th, I probably give myself like a 10 or 15 day window for inspections. And if I can't find nobody within that 10 or 15 days, then I'll back out the contract.
Got you. So essentially you have like a legal way to back out of that contract just in case you can't find a buyer.
Exactly.
Absolutely. Okay, that's awesome.
Keep it simple. You know, I
Right.
try not to get too crazy with it. I like
Right.
all my contracts to be real simple. I've seen people who got contracts that are complicated, but I don't like it. I got 1 or 2 page contract and that's it.
Right. Good for the seller. Good for you. Absolutely. Yep. So you got that first deal from a referral. How are you getting most of your deals now? What do you do for marketing?
So now, honestly, if you want to be like fully transparent now, man, I literally can just wake up and just check my phone and everybody in the city sending me deals. I've been working with buyers for years. You know, everybody know me as the guy that wholesale. So people naturally now is going to come to me. So now it's really, I wake up, I can check the phone and say, hey, all right, this person asking for 40 for the house. I might give them a phone call, say how much you really got the house for. I know you want 40, but they might say, well, man, I really got it for 30. And okay, look, I got somebody going to buy it. Maybe they might want to pay 45 for it. And I might go out, you know, walk the property with them. If it makes sense for them to buy it at 45, and they, you know, they're going to put another 50 in it, but then they could turn around and sell it for, in today's market in Baltimore, for those numbers, we talking about like property you can sell 175 to 185. So for them, it makes sense. For us, it makes sense. It's a good deal.
Right, absolutely. So you work so hard to get such a good buyers list. Now people just send you deals and you make the connections and do business from there.
Yep.
Absolutely.
If you just focus on being like that guy or that woman in your city, hey, after a while, you ain't really got to work too hard. Everything just come to you at one point. But in the beginning, it was a lot of, it was hard work. Like you got to be, every event that's going on, you got to be there. It's a people business. You got to network.
Absolutely. So you prioritize buyers first. You wanted to know all the buyers, what they were paying, and then you kind of reverse engineered and then you found the deals.
Exactly. I actually wouldn't recommend nobody to start off searching for sellers. Because what'll happen is you don't get the inventory. Now you can't sell it because you don't got nobody that's going to buy it.
Right.
But it's easier to find somebody that's a buyer, somebody that's saying, look, man, I got 100,000. I want to invest it. I got 200,000 or whatever amount of money they got. Like I'm looking for an investment property. And if you're in a city like Baltimore, where like it's a startup, it's a good startup city. Like you could take 20,000 and turn it to 100 in no time in Baltimore. Now it ain't like DC, where DC you probably starting off with like 3, 4, 500,000. So I mean, it's a different ball game in DC, but in Baltimore, 20,000, like you can really take that to $1 million if you really, you know, working consistently. But yeah, I would never recommend anybody start off searching for sellers. Find the buyers, make the connections with everybody that want to buy, and it's enough rookie wholesalers or even seasoned wholesalers out there who can't sell their properties because they don't know no buyers. They do great with marketing and finding the sellers, getting the house under contract, but now you can't sell it because you don't know nobody that want to buy it. So when I had all the buyers, everybody, you know, in the city that's, you know, in the same game I'm in, it just made sense where, okay, they're going to send me everything. I got the list of people behind me that's trying to buy. Like, all right, let's connect.
Absolutely.
It's a connection. It's a connection business.
Right. And you have a good system for it. And obviously it's very profitable for you. It's working. What's like the next step for you? Like what's the next 5 to 10 years look like for you?
I'm looking to get more into the commercial side and into the developmental side. Buying land and just building, you know, entire communities.
Okay.
That's where I'm going at with it. Right now I'm flipping homes. I got 5 flips right now. I got 3 I'm working on, 2 in the hole that's under contract. As soon as that first one sell, you know, I'm jumping right back in with another one. So I'm looking to do 60 between now and 2023. I ain't even counting whatever flips I did before the ones I have now. I'ma just, you know, it just was a house I flipped, but from now I had to put a purpose behind it too, and a goal. And it ain't just about flipping a house. Like if you want to be honest, you gotta have a goal and something you're trying to accomplish. You gotta be able to, you know, write down what you're looking to do, and have a strategic plan to attain the goal.
plan is super important, and I think that's undervalued. Having a very specific plan, specific goals, and thinking, how am I going to get there? What do you do kind of like from a self-development perspective to kind of stay focused and stay grounded and be so successful?
Man, affirmations, daily phone calls with the right people. I normally do that in the morning. It got to be, whether I'm talking to my team or I'm talking to a mentor that I have, or, a parent or a sibling. I'm talking to somebody about, how we can do better and what we need to do to get to a higher place. I feel like the morning conversations sometimes can set the tone for the day. So that right now, that's my number one thing is the affirmations and a morning phone call that's kind of catered towards how that day is about to go. And I'm tracking my numbers, how many people I talked to, or how many houses I done went out and seen, how many connections I done made. Like, I'm tracking everything now. At first, it went from being all hustle to now. At some point, you get burnt out from hustling. You got to take the hustle and put it and become a CEO and have everything written out, black and white. Because it'll take over your life if you don't control it the right way. So just have everything written down, black and white. This is what I'm going to do at this time, 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock. Like, the whole day is planned before that day come. You got to be prepared.
Absolutely. The benefit is when you're tracking those KPIs, you know exactly where you're supposed to be. If you're past that, you can actually take some rest. And if you're not there yet, you know how to kind of recalculate and actually get there.
Right.
So how much are you doing from like a delegation standpoint? Like, how big is I don't know how deep you want to get into that stuff, but like, for your team, what do you have people doing? Like, what's your role and what do they do?
So now that we have scaled, now my role more so is about, motivation. Everybody's around me. Like, you got to motivate people. They gotta see you doing well. They gotta see your drive. If you're gonna consider yourself a leader or a boss, like, people gonna feel off your energy. If you lazy, you're gonna have a lazy crew. If you're only giving 80%, your crew probably gonna give 60%. It probably, as a leader, you may not never have a person that might match your effort. If they matching your effort, I feel like it's probably time for them to branch off and maybe y'all can partner on some deals. But you gotta. It's about motivation, making sure that everybody's in place. Everybody has a role within your company. So we broke it down. We got acquisitions, disposition. We got a tech guy. We got a what we call a transaction coordinator. She makes sure that everybody's, all the contracts is laid out right. Everything is turned in. She following up with the title companies. And everybody just got a role. And I pretty much just sit back and make the phone calls, and meet with everybody, make sure that we together for team activities so that we are, moving forward together. If ain't nobody there to hold everybody together, y'all gonna fall apart.
Absolutely. And from what I understand, you're, a good leader in your community. Are you finding most of these people were these people that you knew, the people on your team, or these people that came to you and wanted mentorship? How are you finding most of these people?
So some people came, it's a mixture. Like, I got my brothers, I got some friends. One of my guys that I do a lot of business with. We actually were roommates in college. I played football at Morgan State. I tried to transfer 1 year and go to Bowie State, and met a guy named Stanley Savoy. We were roommates, and he seen me hustling because I was a barber. I'm cutting everybody hair. Over time, like, he just kept reaching out, man, Savage, you still cut hair? You still cut hair? I started cutting his hair one day. Then I started showing him real estate checks. He was like, man, if you show me some good checks, he was a teacher. He like, I quit being a teacher. You show me some checks. I'm like, man, I'm making like 20 a month right now. I showed him the checks, man. He quit like the same day. And then he been with me in the real estate world, grinding. He actually just purchased his first property to flip along with my little brother. And I said, man, it's a mixture. My assistant is a woman that I've known since I was like 15. I had no idea that she was even in the real estate. She reached out to me, just to see how real estate was going, and I didn't know that she had an interest in it. She said she was interested in it. She was working like a regular 9 to 5 type job. I was like, well, if you leave that job, I got a position for you. She left the job, like, and so my whole goal is to have my first. She's my only actual employee.
Mm-hmm.
So now my whole goal with her is to have my first employee to be able to make over 6 figures.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's my goal. Like, everybody around me got to make at least 6 figures, and I feel like I'm doing a good job.
Absolutely, and that's like the hallmark of being a good team leader
Yeah.
and managing a good business. Absolutely. To get a little bit more technical from like a flip aspect, if somebody is watching, they're interested in doing a flip. A lot of times people are concerned, how do I find the money? How do I find the contractor? Could you kind of shed some light on how you're organizing all your projects and getting them done?
All right, so I start off with how I found a contractor. I feel like you need to find a contractor before you find the money.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you find the money and you get the house and you ain't got nobody to work on the house, you working against time.
Mm-hmm.
If you paying somebody like a hard money lender or you got money from somebody that loans you money, like that's gonna come with monthly payments.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't have the people that's skilled enough to do the job, then you're losing money because you're gonna go over your time frame,
Mm-hmm.
and possibly even risk going into foreclosure because you can't get the project done. So something I did early on was I found contractors, and I did that just by driving for dollars. Driving for dollars for me turned into driving for relationships. So I would see construction crews working on a house. I'll hop out the car, run inside, just start asking questions like, man, what you good at doing? I do floors, I can do ceilings, I can do roofs, plumber, electricians. Like, as I started driving around for dollars, meeting people, because I'm getting so many phone calls for being a realtor through the marketing I was doing, like, I would get a lot of investor clients that would say, you got any contractors? So if I just met this guy yesterday, he a plumber, I'm calling, that investor and say, hey, I got a plumber for you. I just seen his work, he seemed pretty good. I would connect him. Now the plumber, he did his job, and I might call him next week because I got somebody else. And so I was feeding so many contractors over time. Like, when it came time for me to finally get my renovations done, I'm getting the work done for a lesser price. So if the plumber normally charging $12,000, do the plumbing, it's a 1,400 square foot house. We doing all new plumbing in Baltimore. Normally his price might be $12,000, but now he coming back. All right, Josh, I got you for $4,000. You looking out for me? I'm eating off of you. Same thing with the carpenters. Same thing with the. I'm still looking for a solid electrician, but outside of that, I got a good HVAC guy, good carpenters, roofers, masons, like everything. But if you feed people in the beginning, when you do find the money for the property, it's easier to do the renovation because you got all the pieces of the puzzle.
Absolutely.
But as far as finding the money, after you find the contractors, you got hard money. You can purchase homes by pulling the equity from your property if you already own one now and you got a good amount of equity in it. You could do that. But I like to go with hard money myself personally. It's just a relationship I had with a lender or a few lenders. Good relationship. They trust me. They trust that I can get the work done. They seeing all my projects. I have built up a good portfolio. So I like to keep it that way. I don't think it's safe to play with your own money, as you get deeper into the game, because you're gonna go from buying one house to 2 to 3 to 5, and it's gonna keep doubling, depending on how aggressive you want to attack it. And flipping homes is cash heavy. It's gonna be a lot of cash going in and out. Why play with your own money?
Right.
Like, you could create an LLC for each house. If things don't work out, God forbid, if things don't work out, you can always file bankruptcy. You keep me your money. Your personal money is still safe. But the money from that LLC, is what's probably on the line. But you use hard money, you and your family are safe. If things ever go wrong. So I don't believe in using too much of your own cash. Early on, you have to use your own cash because that's how you get your foot in the door. But as you start to scale, and you want to do more projects, you're going to have to pull funds from other places to get it done.
Absolutely. Yeah, the benefit of hard money is non-recourse, right? So you mess something up on a project, that's just that project. You say sorry, you pay whoever you need to pay back, and you move on from there. Absolutely. Okay, so you're moving. You got a lot of things going for you. Awesome. So what's the craziest thing that's ever happened to you on a deal?
The craziest thing ever happened to me on a deal, on a not so much on a flip. Nothing bad has happened on a flip yet. But on a wholesale deal, sometimes like you form good relationships with investors, and you'll have a person, and they gung ho about the property, like they ready to go, they excited. Then the day of settlement come, oh, I don't want the house no more.
Yeah.
Now you done went past your day where you were going to be able to back out the contract due to the inspection contingency, and now we at the settlement table. You got the seller done signed, buyer ain't sending no money. So I've had to buy a property just for the relationship. I could have just gave up the earnest money deposit. At that point, I was safe because you got the buyer who put down money, and you get your money back. So if I put down 1,000, the buyer come, they put down 1,000, I get my $1,000 back of earnest money. So I'm technically safe. And this is not always just 1,000. And we got deals where we might got to put 2,500, 5,000, 10,000. It just depends on the actual deal and what you're able to work out with the seller. Everything in real estate, when it comes to buying and selling, is an agreement between the buyer and the seller. But we've had people back out on the day of settlement, and then you either forced to buy that property, or you got to go back to the seller and say, hey, look, I got to get an extension for whatever reason, whatever you can come up with, make it sound good. You got to get an extension. If they grant you an extension, you safe. Okay, maybe you can find another buyer. But if not, like, either you're going to buy the property or you're going to lose a relationship.
Right.
And I don't ever suggest losing a relationship, because you don't know, what that could bring you.
Absolutely. You got to be wise, 100%. Yeah. That's very, very wise advice. And just so everyone watching, if they don't know, everything in regards to earnest money is all negotiable. Everything on the contract, you just got to work it out with the seller, and you guys can usually iron out the numbers. This is a little bit of maybe a personal question, but what's the biggest check you've ever gotten? And you don't have to answer it if you don't.
I got a 6-figure check.
Okay.
I got a 6-figure check, and the biggest next to that was like 85,000.
And that was off a wholesale deal, an assignment, or
no? That the 6-figure check was off of a flip. My biggest assignment deal, I probably made, if I can remember correctly, because it's been so many, probably been about 40,000.
Okay, and that's up in Baltimore, right?
Yeah.
Was that an apartment deal, or that was a single family house?
That was a townhouse.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's possible up in Baltimore to pull assignment fees that large.
It is.
Even on the lower price.
Right? It is. And that really started happening when COVID first hit, is when the big checks really start rolling in. Because prior to COVID, like, if I get a house for 20,000, maybe we're selling for 25, 26, maybe 30 sometimes, or 35. But when COVID hit and it was no inventory, and like the properties value on flips really started to jump up. So we got neighborhoods where homes were selling for like 130,000. Now they're going for 220. Now I could turn around and sell this house. And in the past, if I could sell it for 20, now I can sell it for 50, 60, and it still makes sense.
Absolutely.
So we were catching them deals too.
Yeah, there's a lot of crazy stuff.
Yeah. I mean, COVID was bad for the nation, but it was good for real estate.
Really good. Yeah. A lot of weird stuff. It's kind of calming down a little bit now. Like, numbers are starting to look like they're making more sense. But there was a time where it was like, that's not supposed to sell like that. But I'm not complaining, right?
Right, and sellers are more awake. But at the start of COVID, like, I don't feel like everybody was fully awake to what was happening because of all the uncertainties and everything like that. But like when it was fresh, man, it was hitting good. But now, everybody's awake now. Sellers want more than what is really worth.
Right.
So now we kind of going back and forth with people over, why your house not really worth what you asking for.
For sure. What are some of the hottest neighborhoods in Baltimore for buyers? Maybe for like young wholesalers, they're trying to get a deal. Where should they be looking?
Man, that's a tough one. I mean, okay. If you want a hot neighborhood that anybody, like, people just dying to flip in, I say that's 212, 239. That's the Morgan State area. I got 3 flips going on over there now. To me, that's the hottest. because it's just solid. Like you can't go wrong no matter what. Like somebody gonna buy the house. You 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 can get a property and an investor gonna come take it. You get a property, a home buyer might take it just because of the neighborhood. Like you get a front yard with grass. You got it's alleys there, but you got a good sized backyard for entertainment for your family. The basements, the layouts of the homes are nice. The bedrooms are not too small. Typically they come 3 bed, 2 bath. Sometimes you might get a house that got an attic, so you can get a fourth or a fifth bedroom, depending if you got the attic. That could be that'll be 4. Then you put a bedroom in the basement. That's 5. So uh, you can do a lot in that area if you know the area, and it's solid. Like you can't go wrong. I've never seen a person in my age lose out on a property in that area. That's the hottest.
Okay.
You got zip codes like 21218 where you got Greenmount, which turns into York Road. If you going towards the county on the left hand side, like of Greenmount, you might got property selling in the high 2s, low 3s. 1 block behind that, you got property selling 500, 600, 700,000 in the Guilford community. But if you go across on the other side of Greenmount, you got properties like, let's say like a block like Rose Hill Terrace, which are really good sized homes. Whereas at one point they might have been selling for like 150. Now they selling in the mid 2s because the comps from them 500, and 300,000. Even though when you cross the street, it's a whole different community, but it can feed from that, just from that, that 0.5 mile radius around the house. Like that's a hot zip code. In 218, you got $20,000 properties, 100,000, 200,000, up to $1 million. You got a good mixture of everything.
So a lot of room to play with. Beautiful, beautiful. Okay, so some gems I'm sure some people will be able to run with.
Yep.
For like some of the younger people just starting out, you mentioned like the importance of mentorship and how you went through all that. Where would you, if you could like do it all over again, would you do anything differently? Like, would you start a different place? Would you operate business a little differently at all, or would you have done it the same way?
If I could do it all over again, I would get more mentors early on and just kind of stick with them, because like getting a mentor is like the shortcut card. Like it's a cheat card because you able to learn from them, and if y'all got a good relationship, they can teach you about this is where I messed up at. These are the downfalls that I had. Don't do this. Go this route. They can provide you with connections. You getting a little bit of everything when you got the right mentor. So like if you got a mentor, like it can't even just be a mentor. They family.
Absolutely.
That's how I gotta be.
Absolutely. Are you mentoring anybody right now?
I mentor quite a few people, probably about 30 right
30.
now.
Okay. How would, if people wanted to get your mentorship, how should they reach out? Like, how do they do that?
So I put a probably right now the best thing, because like time is one of the things I don't have much of. Probably one of the best things is to buy the wholesale real estate course. I have up on my IG page. So if you buy the course, you're able to start implementing some of them strategies, and then it's easier for me to coach you one-on-one, because you have all the right fundamentals through the course. And of course, everyone is going to, even if you buy a course, you're going to still have questions. You're going to still have hurdles. And some of the hurdles just might be you just don't have the right connection. You got the house, but you can't sell, or you got the buyer and you just can't seem to get them to buy this property. But when you got the the right foundation, and then you put the connections behind it, now you can get the deals done a little bit better.
Absolutely. Is this something for people who are just in Baltimore, or can anybody reach out to you?
Anybody can reach out to me for this.
Okay, beautiful. And that's just through your IG?
Yep, through IG.
Okay, and we'll put your name, but what's your handle?
It's Josh Savage Real Estate.
Okay, beautiful, beautiful.
So if there's one thing I could say, to somebody just watching this, is that the day and age of just being for yourself is phasing out. And now it's about partnerships. Like, you're going to make more money with your guys or with your girls. Like, people coming together is how you really will come up. Like, try to get it. It's no way you can tackle on 30, 40 houses by yourself. Like, you got to have a strong team. Like, eating together is the movement. Like, I know so many brothers, like blood brothers, that like from where I'm from, that don't even work together at all. Like they living two completely different lives. But me and my brothers, like my two youngest brothers, like we all work together. And I've made more money with them than I've ever made by not working with my family, or my friends, or just pulling everybody together. It's all love. We eat together, we party together, we shout ups and all downs together. And when you put all these minds together, it's more like it's a mastermind. I don't have all the answers. It's sometimes it might be somebody who brand new to the industry who might have an idea that y'all could really capitalize off of. But if you too big headed and thinking for self, you're gonna miss out. Versus people coming together and putting their heads together and really making moves. Like that's where it's at now. Like having partners is the move. Like forget being for self. Like it ain't just about me eating. Like we all gotta eat. And if you all eating, everybody's coming up, because I can make connections. But if my brother making connections, his connections, my connections, because we family. If my man's making connections, like, and I got him, like my connections is his connections. He having a problem, or I got the person that can solve it, or vice versa. Like we all bringing each other up together.
Absolutely. That's deep. That's deep. And that's a testament to why you're so successful. You run a good team, and why you're so, well known and loved in your community, for sure. Awesome. Well, Joshua Savage, I appreciate it. Thank you so much for coming on. Appreciate you taking the time. It was a great talk, and I'm sure a lot of people who are listening are going to get a lot from that. So it was good to meet you, and good to chat, man.
Good to meet you too, bro.
Yeah, bro. Awesome.